Hi folks, Russell Smith here and welcome back to my studio. As many of you know, I was down in Dacusville, South Carolina this past weekend attending the Mountain View Americana Art Show. And while I was there, I got the great opportunity to interview Mr. Seth Hopkins, the director of the Booth Museum of Western Art in Cartersville, Georgia, one of my favorite museums in the country. Now this interview originally was intended to be part of a bigger video I was putting together featuring highlights of the weekend and highlights of the Mountain View Americana show. But the video ran a little bit too long for me to feature the whole thing in that video. But this whole interview deserves to be seen, so I decided to make a separate video here which features the entire interview. And in it, Mr. Hopkins talks about the Mountain View Americana show, but he also talks about the Booth Museum and everything they have going on. And it's just a terrific interview. My sincere thanks to Seth for taking the time to speak with me. That was a great interview, and I hope you enjoy it. Yep. Okay, here we are. Hi, folks. I'm here at the Mountain View Americana Art Show. It starts tonight at 6 p.m. Right now, I am here with Mr. Seth Hopkins, who is our head judge for the weekend. I believe he just finished judging the show. First of all, Seth, tell us a little bit about the show. What are your impressions?
Well, for a first-time show in this part of the world, I think it's excellent. I mean, Deb's got an incredible job putting this thing together. She's got art from all over the country here, some really great works in oil and sculpture and a ton of other medium because she had prizes in so many categories. It's really a great variety of work. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty impressed. It's a great show and something new for this part of the world, and we can certainly always use more Western art coming out here to this part of the country.
Absolutely. And I have to say, in Deb's favor, when she was putting together the show, I've done a couple of first-time shows before, and usually I'm kind of leery, but I was really impressed with her professionalism, and she really seemed to cross her T's and dot her I's, so that's part of the reason I'm here.
Well, from an artist perspective, I think she's done everything she could do to, put the show in the best light.
Yeah.
With what she's got to work with. All the communications that I saw was great. She's doing a lot of hospitality for the artists and making them feel welcome, which of course we would do in the South anyway.
Right.
But the next step is then find the buyers.
Mm-hmm.
And, sometimes first-time art show, a lot of the emphasis gets put on the show itself.
Right.
Not a lot on getting the buyers here. So we would encourage folks to get out, come see the show, get online,
mm-hmm.
bid during the auction. I think there may be some pretty good work that goes at a pretty good price.
Right.
And people have a chance to get a piece of really nice art for their home. And so I would encourage them to check that out.
Very good. Now let me ask you, as a judge, when you go around and judge shows like this, what's something you look for? What catches your eye? What are some of your criteria as far as judging?
Well, one of the things in Western art that you get is a lot of cliches sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's cowboy going right, cowboy going left, Indian going right, Indian going left, or a horse portrait or something. Mm-hmm. And those can be very well done, but I'm always trying to see if somebody has got an original idea, or at least a derivation of an original idea.
Right.
Something a little bit different from a subject matter or composition standpoint. Of course, quality is always first.
Mm-hmm.
You can have the best idea in the world, but if it's not well executed, there's no point in even doing it or looking at it, really. And so, I'm looking for technical skill. I'm looking for innovation. I'm looking for good use of the medium.
Mm-hmm.
Have they taken advantage of the medium they've chose to do it in, and the characteristics of that medium. And then just the overall appeal. Is it something I would want hanging in my house, or that I would consider hanging in the museum, at the end of the day? And that's kind of what I look at.
Well, great. Well, in addition to being our head judge this weekend, Seth is the director of the Booth Museum of Western Art in Cartersville, Georgia, which is an exceptional museum. And I may be a little bit biased because I'm from the South and I consider this our home Western museum. But yeah, it's a terrific museum. And let me make sure I get this straight. For the second year in a row, Reader's Choice Award, top award as the best art museum in the country for USA Today. Is that correct?
It's the USA Today 10 Best Readers Poll that they do every year for bars and restaurants and hotels and tourist attractions and museums. And for the last 2 years, we've been very honored to be the #1 art museum in the country. Not just Western Museum, out of all the art museums.
Right.
So Crystal Bridges was number 5. The Metropolitan Museum in New York was number 10.
Wow.
The Chicago Art Institute was number 8. And I'm under no delusions that we are the best art museum in the country.
Right.
But what I do know is we have the most loyal and enthusiastic fan base in the country. And they have vaulted us into that position the last 2 years. And it's very humbling to have that happen and to know that so many folks, artists, have asked their collectors to help out, our volunteers, our members. You know, everybody's got all their friends and family voting for us, and it's very exciting to win that award. But it also is a challenge to us to continue to do better, be better, and continually strive to improve the visitor experience at the museum.
Well, it is a fantastic experience. And if I could give a little side note, I was just telling Seth, my mother used to live about an hour away from the museum. And whenever we'd go down and visit her, every now and then I'd take her over to the museum to see it. And the first time we took her over there, my mother didn't know a lot about art beyond what I do. But we walked out of the museum and she said, you know, I didn't know what to expect from this, but I really enjoyed that. That was a great museum. Now, tell us just a little brief history about the museum. How did it get started? Where can people find you? Give us the things we need to know.
So it was founded by an anonymous local family there in Cartersville, actually. And the name Booth came from a gentleman who was a mentor to our anonymous founder and really helped him get going in business and to think about life and people and how you manage a business and so on. They used to sit on their mutual front porch in duplexes. They lived next to each other in Atlanta and just talk the night away about philosophy and business and so on. And so when he came time to name the museum, he named it for his friend Sam Booth.
Wow.
So I always tell people, be careful who you mentor. They might grow up and name a museum after you. But it's located right in the middle of downtown Cartersville. It's a block off what would be our square if we had a square.
Right.
And it's right behind the best restaurant in town, or at least one of the best restaurants in town. We've got a couple of new ones that are really giving them some competition, which is great to now have 5 or 6 great museums in Cartersville. You wouldn't expect that either, with having 3 world-class museums there. But the museum opened in 2003. In 2009, we added on another 60,000 square feet.
Wow.
And so that doubled our public square footage. We're now a 120,000 square foot museum. It takes a solid day to really see it if you're going to look at every single thing, which we don't necessarily recommend that. We recommend you get a membership and come 2 or 3 times and really enjoy it and take it all in. In addition to Western art, we collect Civil War art and we collect presidential letters and photographs. So it's not just Western. And we have traveling shows coming through all the time. So there's always at least 3, sometimes 4 temporary shows on view. So even if you've been multiple times, there's always something new to see.
Right. And I myself have been a couple of times. I was telling Seth that I went and saw a Howard Turpning retrospective there, which was it was the best exhibition I've ever seen. I could have spent days in that room learning how to paint from one of my heroes. And then there was also a Clyde Aspavig exposition there, which was just terrific. So yeah, go by and see the museum. Come see the show. Seth, any other words?
Well, I was going to say one of the most recent ones that you missed then seeing was Scott Christensen and Kwang Ho, which was a tour de force of painting. But we're working on more shows like that. One of our current shows that's up, if you get a chance, go on our website. Every permanent collection gallery we have 3D video walkthrough of. Every temporary exhibition for the last 2 years, we've done a 3D virtual reality walkthrough, and some of our greatest hit shows, like that Turpning exhibition, we have archived as a 3D walkthrough.
Right.
So if you can't get to come see us, and I know from certain parts of the country that's more difficult than others, although Delta flies everywhere.
Yep, and you're just outside of Atlanta.
Yeah, we're 50 minutes from the airport, 52 minutes door to door.
Yep.
When there's not traffic.
Yeah.
But
that's the trick.
Yeah. But all these shows are online, and one of the ones we're really proud of right at the moment is Ross Rawson, who is an Atlanta artist and probably one of the top 2 or 3 portrait artists in the country. When Oprah called him and said, Maya Angelou is dying, would you paint her for the National Portrait Gallery?
Wow.
He was the guy she called.
Wow.
And he and I took a trip out west 2 years ago and traveled around the Southwest. And he's painted a whole show as his response to that trip, his first trip out west.
Wow.
And he's originally from Bulgaria, but's lived in the U.S. the last 30 years. But he's always dreamed of going to Monument Valley, growing up watching Westerns like every kid in the world. And I'm telling you, when we hit Monument Valley, he was like a kid in a candy store. He couldn't shoot enough pictures.
I bet.
But his show that he's put together in response to that trip is just phenomenal. And so if you get a chance to come see it, great. If not, get online. You can walk through it in a 3D virtual reality and get close to the experience.
Wow, that sounds great. That sounds awesome. Well, on a final note, let me tell you what I haven't mentioned. My 7-year-old son also loves the museum, but he loves it for a different reason. He remembers it because he can sit in the cafe and watch the trains go by.
Well, you can tell the folks who don't have trains in their neighborhoods anymore or in the towns where they live, because our cafe does look right over one of the most active pieces of rail in the country.
Yeah.
And you'll see people jump up and run outside to take pictures or watch the train go by. That it doesn't happen where they live anymore.
Right.
We get a little annoyed with it there because it's 30 or 40 times a day.
Yeah.
It is fun that people who don't see it get to experience that. And I'm sure he also loves our kids' hands-on area as well.
Oh, yeah, he did. He absolutely did, downstairs.
Where the kids can get on a horse, they can brand a cow, they can draw, they can do all kinds of activities, they can pretend to cook chuck wagon food. It's a lot of fun for anybody under 92.
Well, great. Well, again, Seth, thank you for coming down from Cartersville. I hope it was worth your time. Thanks for judging the show, and hope to talk to you again soon.
Yes, sir.
Thanks so
Thank you.
much.